On this week that's full of Oakland A's nostalgia, here on Locked On A's, it's the return of Jason Burke.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the podcast. We talk about your Oakland A's in this, well, let's be honest, bizarre, emotional, frustrating, and for me, this has been a fun year hosting Locked On A's. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan, but please, I'm begging you, call me Sully. I've been a podcaster at Locked On MLB for the last 6 years, and this year I've done double duty. That's right. You've been getting 10 episodes a week of me. So there you go. Follow us on Locked On A's on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com, or more like Booking. Yeah. The right stake can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rival. Book today on Booking.com, and the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. All right, let's just get right to it. When I started doing the Locked On podcast show, the Locked On MLB, the host of Locked On A's back then, if I'm not mistaken, was the fabulous Jason Burke, and he was a guest on my show. I was a guest on his show. I filled in for, I believe, when he was having a baby. I believe I did a week of shows with him there. And to his amazement, he is now a guest on Locked On A's with me as a host. My, how the world has changed. Hi, Jason Burke. How you doing?
Hi. I'm doing well. How are you, Sully?
I read your stuff. You do a lot of great stuff you're doing for Sports Illustrated. Yeah. And it's so funny. Anytime I look up stuff to do to sort of make sure I'm, having my facts straight, the byline is almost always by Jason Burke. You're doing a ton of great stuff there. And, I've been wanting to have you on pretty much this whole year, just trying to coordinate times and everything like that. Man.
As you mentioned, having a kid, it eats up a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, when we had twins, that was like, people used to ask me all the time, is it harder to have twins than one? And my response was always, how would I know?
So true. So true.
Yeah, but this must be strange. It must be like visiting your old house, and someone else is living there.
It's very weird. I'm like, hey, I know all of this. I'm like, yeah, you got to do the ads. Yeah, I know what we're doing here. It hasn't been that long. It's been like a little bit over a year. I'm like, yeah, no, I did like 3-4 seasons of this.
Yeah.
I know the routine. I got you.
We've literally flipped at this point. Yeah. You're a guest on Locked On A's. And I was a guest on Locked On A's, and all right, enough of this. I mean, I just think it's weird. But I this is my last week of hosting Locked On A's, as you said.
What?
Yeah, why can't
just breaking news to start?
I know, and well, John Fisher mentioned it in his letter today.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did read that.
But it's been like you said to me before we started recording. I thought you were only doing this for like a couple of weeks, and it was like, yeah, I was supposed to only do it for a couple of weeks, and then I just wound up enjoying this season, believe it or not. It's been fun.
It's been a pretty fun time, other than like that, 6-week stretch in like May.
Well, yeah.
Once the rotation went down, it kind of was a little bit harder for a little bit, but they've been really good otherwise. So
I was at the game where they clobbered Miami on May the 4th, and they climbed back to 500. And then they had that grotesque rest of May and June.
Yeah.
But then they played winning baseball since then. Rooker's been great. Butler's been great. Obviously Mason Miller. But they've been having their pitching has been fine. And when it's clicking, it's a real fun team to watch.
They've got a lot of talent that's coming up that in most years, lots of fans would be very excited about right now. And I mean, that's the hard part, growing up as an A's fan right now is obviously, and I also cover the team, I write about the team. So it's like, hey, you get to meet the guys and they're all lovely and all that. And they're having success on the field. And like, this would be a great time to be a fan right now, but it's really hard to separate all of the feelings that are going on, especially this week right now.
Do you want this? If it weren't for all the awfulness that's going on right now, this would be kind of like, it would be kind of like 1999 when the A's started to take a turn after a lot of years of not competing, or like since the La Russa years, or like when things were like, I guess 2012 just kind of came out of nowhere. You know, that division.
That was surprising. They traded a bunch of guys, and it's like, oh yeah, Gio Gonzalez is gone, but also we have all of these other guys now that we got all from that one trade, and that was a bunch of rookies just having the best years of their career, and that was a fun year. I think for most A's fans, that was our favorite season.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I remember going to a lot of games in 2014, and that was that was a fun time too. You know, it ended badly.
2014 was fun.
What?
The first half of 2014.
The first half was amazing. First half was amazing. Then
best team in baseball, and then you can blame it on the Cespedes trade. You can blame it on a bunch of different things, but it didn't end very well.
Yeah. Oh man, I still think about that game. I still think about just take Lester out after 7 and they win that game.
Yeah. Or if the catcher doesn't get hurt halfway through the game, or Johnny Gomes wasn't playing left field, he would have caught that ball that would have ended the game as opposed to dropping in for a double. There's a bunch of like little things that should have happened that just didn't, and that's part of A's fandom is there's like always these little things that were like very changeable things. It's not like, oh man, all we needed was this big home run. It was like, no, like if people were healthy like they should have been, and we're not blaming the players. It's just
or have Jeremy Giambi slide.
Yeah, that changes the course of A's history right there. If they beat the Yankees in 2012, this magical season for a lot of us, it was also the first year that they had the second wild card. So the A's, the better seeded team, started the series in Detroit where it was nice and cold. And I always remember Brandon Moss hit a ball to the wall, which would have gone out at Oakland due to weather and stuff, just the ball traveling further in different weather. And that would have changed the complexion of that game. So maybe they actually beat Justin Verlander as opposed to losing to him over and over and over again for the next decade. So it's a whole thing. Yeah, there's little things.
In 2013, falling behind 3 runs in game 1, and then the final score was 3-2. Yeah. If they get out of that first, these are the innings that eat at A's fans and Billy Beane. As we're trying, wanted desperately to have a happy sequel to Moneyball.
I forget which Yankee series it was in the early aughts, but I remember Gil Heredia, I believe.
That was the 5th game. That was the 5th game of 2000.
2000? Okay. Yeah. I remember like, oh, that's not good. And then they made it close. Yeah,
it was 7-5 was the final. Close. Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of little things like that, obviously.
So many little things.
Oh, well, look at that. It's funny that talking about A's failures on the field is the happy part of our conversation we're going to have today. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about, Fisher released a letter today, and I think from that letter, we could really, really spark some conversation of some of the few things that have been frustrating about this year. Hey, let's hear from our friends over at Booking.com. Now, Jason Burke, I know you haven't done an ad like this for a while, but let me tell you something. Booking.com is the place. They can make you a fan of any city. Even Anaheim.
Okay. I thought you were going to say a different city there.
No, I went to Anaheim. Book today on Booking.com. It's the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Let me tell you something, Jason. I went on a fabulous baseball trip this year. I went to Buffalo, which, by the way, Buffalo is a really nice city. It's a beautiful city. And I was stayed at a great hotel downtown, not far from where the Buffalo Bisons play. Then I rented a car. I went to Niagara Falls, but then I went to Syracuse. I saw the Syracuse Mets play, stayed in a nice hotel there, then all the way to Cooperstown. And I spent 2 days in Cooperstown at a fabulous inn that was right by the lake and walking distance to the Hall of Fame. And it was all through Booking.com. Booking.com delivers exactly the right stay in any U.S. city. So no matter what team you're rooting for this postseason, and it won't be the A's, Booking.com can make you a fan of that season, or that city, or that season. Doesn't matter, from hotels that look over stadiums to my fabulous Cooperstown Inn. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, including Sacramento.
No!
Even your baseball rivals are at Booking.com. Booking.com? Nah, more like Booking.yeah. Now, I bet you know a little bit of our friends at FanDuel. Hey, are you an NFL fan, Jason? Do you have an NFL team? I don't.
I mean, I don't really.
Right.
I follow. I keep up with the storylines, but that's about it. I do fantasy football, kind of.
I'm a big Houston Oilers fan.
Nice,
hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more on the same page when you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. That website again, FanDuel.com. Sing that song with me. FanDuel.com. All right. Well, we're here with Jason Burke, who's now the guest in his old house. I wish I had the kind of the Civil War music from Ken Burns playing, and I could speak to all Oakland Athletic fans. This is the letter that John Fisher wrote. This upcoming series with the Texas Rangers will be the final game of the A's storied 57 years in Oakland. And while the A's I can't keep up this Foghorn Leghorn
I'm like, this is a long letter, so like
yeah, I can't read all this. First of all, way to go, John. After all this time where he's been hiding like Walter White in that little cabin in New Hampshire. Yeah, I'm going to make as many Breaking Bad references as I can today. John Fisher went to ChatGPT. It had this AI-generated letter. There is a better chance that Amelia Earhart wrote this letter than John Fisher. And I don't think a human did. I really think this reads like a ChatGPT, letter. I mean, it's a completely disingenuous letter. There are countless of dedicated, passionate A's fans. I can tell you, my heart, we tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal. It was our mission, and we failed to achieve that. And for that, I'm genuinely sorry. Well, you could have gone to the bank and built a stadium in the
one way to do it.
In the parking lot of the Oakland Coliseum, and call it John Fisher Stadium.
You could also not have a $12 billion whole ballpark village, and maybe do like the $1.5 billion thing that you're doing in Vegas, or trying to do in Vegas.
Or you could have
a hard time.
Or you could have you wouldn't have the commissioner put a gag order on potential Bay Area investors to keep the team in Oakland. And you could have sold the team. You could have said, our goal is to put a team in Oakland, and if not, I will sell it, and my consolation prize will be additional billions of dollars in my available balance.
Now, I'm going off of memory here. This might not be exactly how I have to look at it again before I
wait. You mean you haven't memorized this the way that soldier memorized the Gettysburg Address at the beginning of Lincoln? Are you trying to tell me that?
I have not done that, but right. I believe that he says something to the effect of, "We tried to stay in Oakland. We tried our best," and then talks about the other cities in the Bay Area that he tried to relocate the team. And I was like, well, wait, you just contradicted yourself like the next sentence. And that was a takeaway that I hope is correct. I have read it once in a fury, and so I need to do that again. But that felt like something.
Let me read it. The A's are a fabric of Oakland and the East Bay, and the entire East Bay. I guess I'm becoming more of Daniel Craig in Knives Out at this point. When Lou Wolf and I bought the team in 2005, our dream was to win world championships and build a new ballpark in Oakland. Over the next 18 years, we did our very best to make that happen. We proposed to pursue 5 different locations in the Bay Area.
That's the one.
And despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get the deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short. There's a lot of baggage in those 4 syllables. We came up short. Only in 2021, after 16 years of exclusively developing, I've dropped the accent, new home in the Bay Area, and faced with a binding MLB agreement to find a new home by 2024, we did begin to explore taking the team to Las Vegas. No mention of the fact that he's trying to keep the revenue sharing and all of that stuff.
He mentioned that at some point, like for the people that have been paying attention, it's like, oh no, that's what he means right there. It's, we had this deadline that we had to meet, and that's the thing that they keep saying is there was a deadline that was imposed by the owners. That the players didn't want that, which is something that Evan Jurelic tweeted out, and also it's because of COVID where the owners weren't making as much money, so they want that expansion revenue. So to get expansion revenue, they need the ballpark situation in Oakland and Tampa Bay to be figured out. So it's basically just how do the owners make more money? It's by imposing this arbitrary deadline that apparently didn't matter. Do they have a binding deal with Vegas yet? Is anything bound? Because apparently last December they thought it was, and it was fine.
Yeah,
but still not binding, right? But they're still going to get the revenue sharing next year,
right?
Even without that binding agreement. So really, how binding was that agreement that needed to happen in the
Well,
CBA?
first of all, be warned. A lot of Las Vegas sports fans like to hate listen to this show.
Oh, fun.
I have made it clear I have nothing against the people of Las Vegas and the sports fans of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the last show I did everything but get on my hands and knees and beg them to not do business with the Fishers. Las Vegas, no matter what issues that I have with them as a market, is going to get a Major League Baseball team. Baseball seems to be hell-bent to do that. And whether or not
they should have one. Honestly, they should have a baseball team.
I think there are other
the A's.
Well, I think there are other markets that should have a team before Vegas, in my humble opinion. But fine. If Vegas has jumped to the top, that's fine. By the way, there is another looming franchise situation in Arizona where Brody Brazil did another brilliant video about this, but it's not about cosmetic upkeep on the former Bob, now Chase Field. They're having trouble opening and closing the roof. They're having trouble with air conditioning, and there's no guarantee that stadium will be that they'll be able to play there after 2027, which by a complete coincidence is also right around the time the supposed armadillo that they're building in Las Vegas will be built. I don't want that.
Worth pointing out in the middle of this, worth pointing out the agreement that the A's have with the site in Las Vegas. It's team agnostic. It could be any baseball team at that site. It does not need to be the A's.
And as I've said before, and again, I don't know why this got the ire of Vegas fans. I'm telling you don't want to do business with Fredo Fisher here. And that is actually Fredo did a better job in Vegas. He got hooked up with Mo Green. Granted, there was a whole thing with the cocktail waitresses, but still. I'm doing deep dives of my Godfather references today. By the way, I could imagine that John Fisher said, when they were going over the Vegas Bros, I'm gonna learn the casino business. Okay. All right, back on track. I'm going off piste here. But like the A's haven't put any money into this yet.
No.
If they're going to build a stadium, it doesn't have to be for the A's. And from what I understand, part of the agreement for the A's is that they have to put a quality product on the field in Las Vegas. How in the name of Sal Bando are they going to do that if they're going to be playing in Sacramento for 3? Did I say 3? I meant 4. For 4, did I mean 5 years on a frying pan, when no agent in their right mind would allow a player to sign an extension in Sacramento?
Revenue sharing, baby. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be tricky for them to try and get lure free agents to play in Sacramento. It's in order to improve the team. You can get guys that just weren't offered deals. Yeah, that's going to be an option.
Yeah.
But will it improve the team? I don't know. I assume that they're probably going to have to go the trade route a little bit more than they would in normal circumstances. But also that kind of limits some of the depth that the team might have. And if you're trading away prospects to get improvements at the big league level. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. And hopefully I get to ask the GM some questions after the season and kind of see what their plan is for attacking this offseason. Because I'm very intrigued to see if changing ballparks, adjust what their usual plan would be. I assume that it will, but I'm not sure. So I want to see what he has to say.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this last week. You know what Game Time is? It's the best place to get tickets for all your live events. And now Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and shows you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So check out Seat Views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Check out the lowest price guaranteed. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and you'll have the Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right. This is a reminder that Locked On MLB is the other show you should be listening to. I'm the host of that too, and I'm getting you prepared for the Fall Classic. I've got it covered every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. We're back here with Jason Burke, the former and maybe future host of Locked On A's. Who knows?
No idea.
No idea. Are you going to the last game?
I'm going to the last 3, yeah. Credentialed member of the media, baby. I get to go do what I do. It'll be fun. And my parents are coming out on Tuesday, and I got them batting practice,
Nice.
like passes. So they get to experience some of that. And I don't know if they've done that before, so that's a little treat that I get to do, which is kind of fun. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to be there for the last one. I'm going to be there on Thursday. I got my tickets at the beginning of the year. And by the way, let's hear it for John Fisher for telling the players and the managers to don't wave to the fans, just go in like it's a regular, day game in June, because those scary A's fans may riot. I mean, that's basically, you don't know what they're going to do, which I also think is a big reason why they're doing the I don't know if you saw that chintzy looking stadium replica that looks like a ice cream cake.
That is what it looks like.
It looks awful the Fudgy the Whale freaking stadium of Oakland, and you have to get up in the 7th inning and stand in line instead of having them handed out at the freaking when you walk in, like every other giveaway that's ever been done since they did little handouts at the Roman Coliseum. Now they're having it be so. Okay, if you want this, you got to go to this other section. I'm guessing that so people aren't sitting in their seats at the end of the game, and they're just going to treat it like a normal game because A's fans are scary. We're
scary. Terrifying people. Yeah. Have you heard the drums?
Oh yeah, they're war drums.
Those war drums. Yeah. People when they're in a crowd trying to exit the ballpark, at least back in the day, they would all just start mooing because they were just a herd of cattle. Terrifying cows.
Cows are the most violent animals out there. Five people a day get eaten by a cow somewhere. We have as well. I've been told. Yeah, I don't think why. I mean, there are enough middle fingers being put in the faces of the fan at this point. And I said this on the show the other day. Even Montreal, which was a pretty rotten treatment of the fans in Montreal, at least at their last game, Frank Robinson and everyone waved to the fans and had a moment there. I mean, I'm not expecting them to be bringing back Reggie and Burke Campaneris and Mark McGuire, but for God's sakes, let freaking Kotze wave.
Wave or give a speech. I don't know. It'd be nice. I haven't done enough reporting on it, so I don't know anything with regard to that. It's all been the national media guys with ESPN and Bob Nightingale and all that stuff. So I'm like, first I'm hearing of this. Wasn't really something that I was concerned about, but now it is apparently a narrative. So that's super fun.
No, look, I mean, what are you going to do next year? Are you going to follow? I went to a River Cats game in the daylight, and my phone caught on fire. And I've told this story on the show, but I sat in my seat at one point, and an usher came up to me asking me if I was okay. So good luck getting 20,000 people. I know they only have like a half dozen day games scheduled for the year, but they're going to have getaway days.
Yeah,
you know, that's part of playing on the West Coast.
I actually heard that story about that you just told from somebody in the press box like yesterday. So
what from my show or no?
From your show, yeah.
Oh wow.
They were like, oh yeah. Sully from Lockdown A's, he told this story about how he went to Sacramento, and the ushers were like, "Are you okay? Why are you out here?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like him." I mean, next year, writing about the A's is how I make a living, so that's fun. It's going to be a small press box, so hopefully I'm still admitted. But yeah, I'm still going to be writing about the team just because that was always the dream. And I also do a little bit of work writing about Stanford as well now for the same company. So that's an offshoot where I can explore, other sports and try my hand at other things. But baseball has always been the passion. And I have a pretty nice gig for where I'm at. I get to work from home when I'm not at the games and work when I want to, which is great because I get to take care of the kiddo. And, you only get one chance at these years. So I'm making the most out of that. So I'm going to still write about the team like I do, where, it's probably like 85% like, hey, yay, positive player things. And then like 15% like, hey, what's this about? That's questionable. So yeah, that's all.
Well, I tried my best to make the podcast like that too. I mean, I can't have this be 5 episodes a week of trashing Fisher. And trying to show our love to Brent Rooker, show our love to Lawrence Butler, and show our love to Langoliers and to JP Sears and everyone when they do a good job, and hats off to Kotze for when they fell as hard after that horrible stretch they had from the beginning of or about a week or so into May through. Basically from the home run by Corey Seager in early May where the A's were winning against Texas. They lost that game on a horrible losing streak. And then things picked up around July, and especially right after the All-Star break. But winning that series in Philadelphia was a huge thing. And they've been pretty exciting since. And if you had told me there was a team that was going to lose 120 games like the 1962 New York Mets, I think we all assumed it was going to be the A's, with a management that didn't care, the rudderless team and everything like that. And they're going to avoid 100 losses. They avoided 100 losses.
Yeah. They're a pretty good team. Kape's a pretty good manager, I got to say.
Yeah.
He's been solid. He keeps his guys locked in and stuff and like in the right mindset, even when they were losing last year. He's done a great job. And I feel like he should probably get some manager of the year votes, not like first, but like maybe third.
Yeah.
I think that he's done a very, very good job with what he's been given the last 3 years.
Well, I'm going to be there on Thursday. You're going to be there. It's going to be it's going to be strange. It's like the game itself almost doesn't matter at this point. It's just going to be, I mean, I'm saying that after being swept by the Yankees, but
I mean, it's going to be weird. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine from high school, and he was like, the A's are going to win the last game. Like that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And then as everybody has all of this emotion and all that celebration is going to be playing in the background, it's just this weird A's moment of, celebrate good times, but also this is the last time that you will ever be here to watch Oakland A's baseball. So, just trying to get in the right mindset for anything, because it's weird
so
time.
Weird. It's very weird. Well, look at Jason Burke. I had to have you back on. It would not have been right to go to host this through April, May, June, July, August, and this is half a year of hosting, half a calendar year of hosting Locked On A's, and not to have the maestro Jason Burke on. Where can people follow you and read your great stuff?
You can follow me at @JasonB basically anywhere. Really, I'm only active on Twitter or X, if you want to call it that.
Which I don't.
But it's by Jason B everywhere. And then all of my work is over at si.com/MLB/athletics. I still got that from when I hosted this show. That's the URL. It's Oakland A's on SI is the name of the site, but that's not the URL. So there you go.
There you go. Well, you can follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter, or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Saying our farewell to the Oakland Coliseum, and no better person to do that with than Jason Burke. This has been a strange reunion episode of Locked On A's. Believe it or not, I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please, I'm begging you, call me Sully.